As you can see, I have titled my presentation, Keywords Are Not Hard, and I think that most people overcomplicate the entire process. I get this question probably 25 times a day, and if I've ignored your Facebook message, I'm sorry, I get a lot of them. But I guess the real title is Optimizing Your Listings for Merch by Amazon, and it's kind of a process that I've put into place that I've grown multiple accounts to multiple tens of thousands of dollars per month. So if you don't know who I am and you're looking at me, you probably noticed that I have a bunch of hair and I am kind of unemployable. If you walk out of this room and you don't remember my name, you probably are going to remember what I look like. But I started kind of my online journey 2011-ish, I would say. I worked at Target pushing shopping carts, and I hated it. It was pretty bad. And from there, I kind of wanted to, I was in college at the time, and I wanted to graduate, but I didn't want to work for someone else. I was kind of looking for a way out. So at that time, I started working with some affiliate websites, which is kind of my background. I've been doing that since very, very, very early. But if there's one lesson I learned from Target, it's that your situation's not going to change unless you do something about it. Because everyone would sit there, complain about their job, and they wouldn't do anything different. You have to be willing to change and test and implement different things in your business. So this is what I used to do. Fun stuff. I would make these websites, large ones, 1,000+ pages of this kind of content, where you'd go to Google and you type in, best crock pot, or I don't know what you guys use every day, best lawnmower. And I would try to get my website at the very top, because when something is at the top of a search engine, which is exactly what Amazon is, you make more money. You make a lot more money because everyone is going to click through your listings, and if they click through your listings, you actually have a chance at a sale. So does anyone remember this article? Has anyone in this room seen this article? Chris Green has seen this article, no one else. All right, so this is the very first time I was introduced to Merch by Amazon. I was doing private label and hating it, so probably in the minority there. And this kind of came across my desk, and I saw this article, and I read through it. 2015, September. So I saw this article, and I said, okay, it looks like print-on-demand t-shirts. You upload a design, and from there, Merch will print it, they will ship it, and they pay you money. You don't have to talk to any customers. You don't have to send anything through customs, which is where all my private label stuff ended up anyways. And then they pay you. So I thought that was the greatest thing ever. So I tossed some shirts up, and they started to sell. Anything you put up, anything I would put up would sell. I'm talking like I'm not a designer. I can drag some stuff into Photoshop. I can type some words. And it doesn't matter how bad it looked. Back then, I would make money from it. So what did I do? I noticed there's no competition. I had people working for me with these affiliate websites, so I went out and I hired a bunch of people. Now, when most people got started in merch, they had absolutely no idea how to use keywords, what they are, how they worked, and what you generally see is a really sloppy title with no bullet points and no description, but it didn't matter. You would still make money, people would still buy your designs because you and 100 other people even knew what Merch by Amazon was. But slowly and surely, more people joined the platform, more people started actually filling out their bullet points, making sure their titles were optimized. I finally figured out to add a description which shows up on your mobile phone. That took a year's worth of time, but competition increased. A bunch of people started joining the platform. Chris was probably integral to that. But going back to doing affiliate marketing, Google's the search engine, so is Amazon. And here's kind of some data with the click-through rates. Sorry about that. The click-through rates for when people search for stuff on Google. If you are not on the first page, then you are not going to be visible. So you can have the best website possible with the best information, but if you are not on that first page and if you are not close to the top, no one is ever going to see that information that you put out there. So as you can see, position 1 gets 20% of the traffic. So that is huge. And from there, it kind of dwindles down. until the very bottom, position 10. People usually scroll down and click the very last one, so that's why it's a little bit higher. But Google is a search engine just like Amazon is, so the whole process of making sure you're seen and sticking out, kind of like the hair thing, I'm pretty sure I stick out, I look a little different. You need to make your products stick out. You need to find a way to make them visible to users so that you stand a chance of getting that sale. So why is everyone actually in this room right now? I know Scott answered over there, but like, why specifically is anyone here? Jacob. To learn. Anyone else? Yes. Okay. Yes? Sell more stuff. Okay. I think we're all in the same boat, and I think selling more stuff comes down to making more money and sticking out. The way you do that is you stick out, and you stick out by, I'm not going to talk much about anything else on this but keywords, but you need to have that big design to get the click-through rate. So think about, you're scrolling through Amazon, you see this tiny, tiny, tiny little image, and people are scrolling past, and if that doesn't catch their attention in that split second people are searching by, then you're going to be lost, and it doesn't really matter. Now, the keywords are hopefully to get you in a position where you can stick out. You will be able to see that little image of your shirt, and you'll have the chance of someone clicking on it. Now, the higher you are, the higher click-through rate you're going to see on your products. Another differentiator right here, how to stick out, is price. I know that's kind of a touchy subject, and I'm pretty sure most people know where I stand on that. I like lower price. And finally, sales, which is the whole point of why I'm in this, and probably a lot of you are too. So, in order to keyword a listing, the title is the most important aspect of the entire process. So that's why you used to see people would fill out their titles, ignore the bullet points, and ignore the description, and they still would rank. Now, if you look at some of the new products out there, I'm not sure what you guys are familiar with, one of them being pop sockets on the back of this phone, you will notice that when they go up, these are usually brand partners, people that have been selected. Sometimes Amazon puts them up themselves. You'll notice they don't really have any bullet points, and if they do, they're the same exact phrase across every single pop socket. And the reason being is that the title is what stands out. That's how the product ranks, and that's going to be the most important. Now, there's two trains of thought when it comes to actually keywording your title, and that's the title of the shirt, according to what is on the shirt. So if it has, a panda bear on it or something, you might say panda bear t-shirt. Or the title according to the niche, where, a panda bear t-shirt, maybe it's, bear lovers t-shirt, something like that. But you'll see a lot of, here's two examples. I don't know if you guys can see that. In the social working niche, the first one is talking about, let me look. I can barely read this. The first one is kind of describing the shirt, whereas the second one has some of the words that are on the shirt. Now, both of these work. There's not a right way and a wrong way to do it, but as you will see, getting the, I would say, main keywords in your title is definitely going to be important. So when you guys sit down with your design and you are starting to upload your shirts, how long do you guys typically spend keywording your listings? Just throw some numbers. I like that. What else? Anyone? The keyword, so you're done, you're uploading your design, and you gotta fill out the information. 3 minutes. Anyone else? 5 to 10. So I would say that 5 to 10 is probably too long. I've talked to some people where they take, they'll message me and I'll message back and they'll say like, hey, I need some help with some keywords, and I'll give them some pointers, and I'll come back an hour, maybe a day later, and they're like, hey, I filled this out, can you take a look at it? There's no way that anyone should be spending more than a minute or two per listing once you get this down. So to build the title, I pick one main keyword. So that is the main niche that you want to rank for. So if you're doing a mechanic shirt, then your title is going to be mechanic. If you're doing a social worker shirt, your main keyword is going to be social worker. Just like they were talking about in the previous room, those big keywords are what gets all of the traffic, or the majority of the traffic. Now, those are really, really hard to rank for, but that's going to be the main keyword you want. Now, once you have your main keyword, all you need to do is actually just attach it to the product that you're selling. So most people, if they're going to buy a social worker shirt, they're not going to sit there and type in social personality t-shirt listing. They're going to type in social worker shirt or social worker t-shirt. That is where all the sales, or the majority of the sales, are going to come from. So just attach to the very end the product you're selling: t-shirt, hoodie, sweatshirt, long sleeve. So here's this example of a shirt. Now, it's not my shirt. I just pull it up and put it in there, so sorry if that's anyone's. The main keyword, social worker. You add t-shirt to the end because that's what it is. Now you maybe want to add to it just a little bit. So examples. I may be wrong, but I'm a social worker. So that's an example of taking exactly what's on the shirt and putting it in the listing. Notice how at the very end of the listing, your main keyword is attached to the product. Those are together, they're not split up. Now what that's going to do, it's going to help Amazon actually index your actual example properly, and thus rank you higher on the page because they're not split up. You can split them up, but it'll still work. You just won't rank as highly. Or you can do simply, social worker t-shirt for mom. That's not explaining exactly what's on the shirt, kind of more of the niche. Both of those examples work. Or social worker mom t-shirt. That is where it's split up. I probably wouldn't go this route, but that does work as well. So when you're talking about a brand, that's usually the next point, make it look real. I know a lot of us are not trying to build a specific brand on Amazon. I'm not. I'm there to sell just a lot of product. I don't really care what the brand is as long as Amazon sells it for me. So you need to stop spamming your keywords in your brand. Now, I'm a fan of putting a keyword in your brand, but making your brand super, super long, like this last bullet point here, is not a good idea. It does not lead to customer trust, and Amazon has specifically said not to do it. So there's 3 reasons not to. So the first 2 examples are probably something I would do. It looks like a real brand, social tea company, Social Workers Design Co. It looks like something that if you clicked on that brand, you'd expect to see a bunch of social worker t-shirts or a bunch of social worker clothing. Anything else is kind of a waste of time. The bottom one is probably going to ding your whole entire account down the line. I mean, if you don't have that customer trust in the very beginning and people are backing out of your product just because they're like, what the hell's going on? That is not a company, that is not a brand. Then over time, you are going to fall down that page until no one can see you again. So while you might start at the top of the page, you found a good niche, you did a bunch of research, now that you're ranking, if you can't keep the customer's trust, you're not going to stay there for long. So I think the bullets are probably where most people spend way too much time. Like way too much time. It's not really that hard, I promise. So I already have your main keyword. Your main keyword is just the main niche: social worker, mechanic, cook, chef, You need to come up with 2 to 3 secondary keywords. No more than that. There's no reason to put a whole paragraph of just keyword, comma, keyword, comma. That doesn't help, it doesn't work, and it confuses Amazon because they are a search engine. In order to index the shirt properly, your secondary keywords, they need to make sense. They need to back up your main keyword. So if you have social worker, for example, and so the search bot or whatever is going out there and indexing sees, your main keyword is social worker, but then you get to the bullet point and you mention firefighter, well, now all of a sudden the algorithm's confused and it's not going to rank you for where you want to be. So 2 to 3 secondary keywords. Now, you can have them related to the keyword. That's always good. Synonyms, even better. But you need to make sure that these have demand, because the way we're going to make this work is that we're going to find smaller keywords that people are searching for not nearly as highly as our main keyword. So if our main keyword is social worker, we want keywords that get much less searches. No one is using them, but we're going to use those keywords in order to rank the main keyword. So that's where we get all the sales from. So there's a few places to get these secondary keywords. The first, I just took a screenshot from Merch Informer, but look at other people that are actually actively selling in the niche. If they're actively selling, it means they did something right in order to get themselves ranked. And you can just look at what keywords they are using. Now, granted, remember, we do not want our secondary keywords to have 200,000 searches. That is not going to be beneficial. You won't rank. There's going to be tens of thousands of people that are trying to rank for those keywords too. So we're looking for something that's not used very often. Amazon Auto Suggest is also a great place to look for these keywords, simply because Amazon knows better than any of us what keywords lead to a sale, because they are, after all, the company that we are selling through. But you have to make sure that you research demand. So here's an example: social worker, huge search volume. But if you look at some of these keywords below, social worker gifts, social worker humor, social worker month, much less keyword volume. But if you can use those small keywords in order to get your sales, you're going to end up ranking for social worker. And then you're going to make a lot more sales, so you get the sales velocity going. Let's keep building our bullet points here. Here are some keywords that I've come up with. Remember, we looked at the demand. We saw that they are getting searched. Now, you need to make sure that you use these in a speakable sentence. This goes back to customer trust. It goes back to not confusing the algorithm. Because if you sit there and you enter keyword after keyword after keyword, it's going to look spammy. The customer trust is not going to be there because Amazon is all about the customer. It's just not going to work. It works for the time being, but I'm telling you, those listings will get dinged. It will stop working, and then people are going to be complaining. So work the keywords that you have into a speakable sentence. So, for example, looking for a social worker gift for your loved one, the social worker humor design is a must-have for anyone in the profession. Now notice I put at the top 4 to 5 keywords, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 keywords, and I've only put 2 of them in the first bullet. That's okay. That's definitely okay. You want to make sure that it's readable, it's speakable, it doesn't look spammy. The last thing you want to do is just sit there and repeat all your keywords. It's not going to look good, and it won't work. So you don't need to use all the keywords in your listing. Remember, we only want to use a few of them, just enough that they still have demand. They don't have a ton of demand, but they have enough demand where eventually you will get a sale for the smaller keywords. Now, the second bullet point, I always copy and paste the title of the shirt. So why do I do that? A few reasons. I get the title of the shirt in the second bullet point. It gets that main keyword, because remember, in the title of the shirt, we're always going to put the main keyword. So the keyword density is going to go up. Once we put that title of the t-shirt, if we copy and paste that in the second bullet, your keyword density is going to go up. It's going to reaffirm to the Amazon search algorithm that yes, this t-shirt design is about social work. It's not about firefighters or anything else. So you're kind of giving that algorithm the push you need to reaffirm that, yeah, this is what this shirt is actually about. Because remember, people aren't looking for this. A bot, a search algorithm is looking for this, and that is going to determine if a real person gets the chance to see your listing. Now, you can add more keywords in the second bullet point. You can just copy paste the t-shirt. You can say, this t-shirt makes a great gift. It's kind of up to you. But you need to be describing the design and not the shirt. So I used to tell everyone up until a few days ago to tell them to order a size bigger, because in America, a lot of people, they don't really know their true size in t-shirt, and I got a lot of bad reviews. So of course I added, if you want to bag your fit, order a size up. And that got me in some big trouble. So do not describe the actual t-shirt. Amazon's constantly changing this stuff. Since the beginning, I think they've changed it twice now. Yeah. Don't describe the shirt. That is what Amazon has told us. I have been editing. I'm 7,000 listings in. I got a lot more to go. So yeah, I'm changing them.
And please repeat the questions too for the recording.
Oh, I'm sorry about
That's okay.
that. All right. So she wanted to know if we should put in order size up in our listings. No, you shouldn't. So I encourage you all to edit your shirts. I'm sorry I told you otherwise. Only the design, because the design is going to be what is a constant over the term, kind of the Merch by Amazon lifespan, and the shirts can change. I mean, they went from, this is a Bella and Canvas, they also have Port and Company, American Apparel kind of went out the door. I think they went bankrupt. But just the design. So that's kind of the entire process, but like, why does this work? And it works because your main keyword is in the title. So that is going to be the biggest keyword, the most search volume. That's what you want to rank for. But you're probably sitting there like, okay, this search term has 100,000 people searching for it and 10,000, 15,000 other sellers. I'm never going to rank for that. You kind of reaffirm to the search bot that, yes, this is what you should rank for because your main keyword is in the first bullet point, but you're also niched down. So I know a lot of people are complaining, oh, I'm not selling as many shirts in 2018, something changed. It's because there's more competition on the system and everyone's going for those huge keywords, but no one's taking the time to actually niche down and getting those sales on the smaller keywords, which is going to boost your main keyword. So the niche down keywords, one, they need to have demand, because if they don't have demand, you're wasting your time. Once you've found out that they do have demand, that is where you know that if you can rank for these smaller keywords, if there's only 5, 10 other sellers going for these smaller keywords because they forgot to put, social worker month. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was putting this together. You put that in your listing and it's social worker month and 5 other people have it, you're going to end up ranking and getting those sales. And then once you get those sales for social worker month shirt, all of a sudden you're going to start making sales for social worker, because every single sale you get is kind of going to ratchet you up to the top of the search. As long as, Amazon measures a lot of things. As long as people are clicking on your shirt and clicking buy, as long as people are clicking on your shirt and looking at the listing and then clicking buy. But if you have a shirt and they click on your listing and they see a bunch of spam, they see your title is all whack, and they click back, that's going to hurt you. You're going to fall down. So you got to make sure you have a good shirt, but then keywords are going to get you the visibility that you need. And then the second bullet point, as I just spoke about, I put the title of the shirt in there simply because I want to up the keyword density without looking like I'm spamming. So as long as it's pretty normal to put the title of the product you're selling in your listing. I think that's pretty normal. I don't think that's kind of off at all, but it ups the keyword density, which is going to reaffirm to Amazon that yes, this is your main keyword and this is what you're ultimately you're going to end up ranking for if you do this properly. So that's pretty much all I have. I kind of rushed through that. Any of you have any questions?
Hi.
Hello.
The question I have is, when you said you were describing your shirts,
Yes.
do you make any reference to whether they are strictly for men, women, unisex?
No, simply because Amazon is such a giant company, and when you're going through the process of listing your shirts, you check off, is this women, is this men, is this youth sizes? So I kind of leave that to them simply because they know what the shirt is, what it's listing for, and most of the time people are logged into their accounts, so they know the sex of that person anyways.
So you don't, how about like what it's made out of, 100% cotton?
No.
That's in the other part of the listing, right?
Just let Amazon deal with that, simply because in the future it might not be 100% cotton, and then you're stuck like me editing thousands of listings. You don't want to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That slide you had that showed all the keyword ranking and stuff, where was that from? Where did
This one or this
That-
one?
not
One of
that
these?
one.
This one?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, that's from the tool that I sell, Merch Informer.
So this is a keyword question. If you have something like this with a pattern design that's not specific to like a niche or it doesn't have words on it, what are your tips for keywording patterns and design-based designs, like pictures, like repeating patterns and stuff like that?
My question is, where did you find that there was demand for a pattern on merch?
There's like $100 million worth of sales on other platforms with people buying pattern designs, so there must be a demand, I would think.
Well, I'm familiar with merch. I don't really sell on many other platforms. For a pattern, I would strictly describe, 1, what the pattern is. 2, I would look at what other people are selling. Because if they're actively selling something, they clearly did something right to get, the visibility that they need. So look at them. Don't just copy their stuff, but use other sellers to build your own listing there. Absolutely, yes.
Do you think it matters whether you put shirt, t-shirt, T-E-E, shirt, T-shirt? I'm thinking it doesn't, but in your professional opinion, does it matter?
I think it matters somewhat. Now, if I generally put T-shirt. I think that covers most things. It covers T-shirt. It covers shirt. It doesn't cover T. Now, sometimes I put that in my bullet points, right? And I mean, I might also put that in the description. Now, the description really doesn't help you rank for anything. It's mostly, the meta description. If you're on your phone and you're looking through, that's what's going to show up. So I might put that in there, but it doesn't really help you rank within search. From what I've looked at, most people type in shirt. So as long as you have that somewhere in your listing, you should be good.
Description box, are you populating it or not?
Yes, I should have probably added that. So what I do for the description, it doesn't actually help you rank. So I don't really care about putting keywords in there. I don't really care about... I just want to make sure, because when you have your phone out, right, and you're looking through the different shirts, and most people going to Amazon now, I believe, are mobile users. So you want to make sure that's filled out, because that's going to be the description they see before they click the shirt. Now, what I will generally do is I'll just copy and paste my first bullet point, and I'll paste it down there. Now, that also helps because in my first bullet point, not only do you want to get those secondary keywords in there, but that's your one chance to actually sell the customer, like actually sell them something. So I generally tell them kind of why they want to buy it. And if that's what shows up, in the search and they read it, that might give me just a small edge.
I've got 2 quick questions. So
Sure.
you said like splitting up keywords, like right now, say for like the World Cup. Can't say World Cup, of course.
Right.
But you can say like World Russia Soccer Cup. But is there any point even putting that in there at all?
That keyword probably wouldn't fly. There's a giant list of things that I know what you're talking about though. So would it work? Yes. Would it work as well as someone keeping the 2 keywords together is essentially what you're asking?
Yeah.
No, because Amazon's going to they're first going to look at the keywords in kind of like chunks, right? And that's because that's how they're going to index them. And they're smart enough to know that you have both keywords in there, but you won't rank as highly for that specific search phrase if you split them up.
Okay. Cool. And second one, so I'm using like Merchlist Pro, which is like speeds up everything.
Right.
But it also, they have that preset where you can put it like premium shirts. It says if it's a long sleeve. Do you think that's necessary to put that into your listing and like the title, premium versus standard, or to just like leave it, like use up?
I leave all that out because their premium might be called something different tomorrow. That's kind of how Amazon works. I don't want to edit them all, but from my understanding, the way that tool works, I haven't really used it. It doesn't populate by an Excel sheet.
Yeah, so you can choose to like take out premium, of course, if you want to. So I've tried like leaving it in just to see if it makes a difference, but I don't really know if like the buyer cares if it's premium or standard.
Well, you have to think of, I don't think it's about the buyer in the moment if they care about a premium or standard, because no customer, or very, very, very few customers are going to sit down and type in, premium social worker t-shirt.
Yeah.
They're going to type in social worker shirt. They're going to type in mechanic gift for dad. They're not going to type in premium mechanic gift for that. So maybe you can put in your listings. I don't. I think the customer is smart enough to read, okay, this is cotton, this is polyester.
Got
So I
it.
just leave all that out.
Okay, thank you.
Right, because no one actually goes to Amazon and just searches T-shirt. But if you're searching for, mechanic T-shirt or mechanic tee, you're going to get different results for those keywords, like ranking wise, right? Because you're going to notice that the total amount of shirts on Amazon, it used to tell you, if you went to Amazon and you kind of niched down to the Prime and Amazon ships and everything, it would tell you exactly how many shirts are out there. But that is a different team outside of Merch by Amazon, right? That's probably, there's a search team. It's probably quite large. And they've now changed that to where it'll say 50,000 plus, or it'll only show you the first 7 pages until you get to the 7th page. And so it's going to affect how you rank for a specific keyword, not how many shirts there are showing.
I have quick questions. Do you ever write the word copyright, the brand that you wrote, in your listings?
No.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, I don't really file copyright for all my shirts, mostly none of them. I know it is granted, but I feel like no one is going to be searching for, copyright mechanic shirt. I'm all about getting that search visibility, because if I don't use every spot available to get my eyeballs on my listing, then I'm not going to make money. So I would rather take my time outsourcing and creating different designs for different T-shirts, while everyone else is worried about, oh my God, someone stole my design. Like, I don't care. I was there first, and I'm going to be there first 20 more times when you take the time to take someone else down. That's kind of my thought process.
And the other question was about how do you search when you're looking at your T-shirts and looking up how is it trademarked or not, and that you can actually...
So there is a government website. It's called TESS, T-E-S-S, the Trademark Electronic Search System. There's about 1 million videos on YouTube about how to use it. It looks like it's from the 80s. Pretty old website, but it's a government database. So once you figure out how to use that, it'll tell you, who applied for a trademark, can you use this phrase or not. But you really need to watch a video or something on that to explain what all these numbers means, because there's there's a serial number, registration number, you have the attorney of record, where they are in the entire process. I mean, a lot of this stuff takes 10 months to get fully registered. But it's called TESS. Anyone else? One sec.
So you mentioned earlier in the presentation you've got slides.
Yes, right there.
So can you tell us about how Merch Informer can use the trademark protection? Like, how does that work, and how often does it check the designs, and how is that useful for sellers that are on Merch by Amazon?
So we built a system inside of Merch Informer that should not be used right away. You should always go to the government database and check first. But what I ran into since I've been in this for a few years is that I would check, everything would be good to go, and 8 months later, I'd be getting an email from Amazon that my shirt was taken down because a trademark ended up going through, and now I believe that I have a strike on my account because I didn't recheck the thousands of listings I have up for trademark. So what I would do, well, we built this tool where you can essentially add the phrase, and it will go and it will check the USPTO database every day, and it will make sure that if there is a serial number and a registration number, that it'll mark it as unsafe. That's not to say you can't use it. It might be registered under a different category. Maybe it's registered for mugs. But the reason we did it that way is when it comes to brands, a lot of people don't speak English, so they're not familiar with some of the brands in the US. And just because it's not registered for T-shirts, you might be infringing on a brand. So it's basically just like a, hey, heads up, head over to TESS, look at the database, see what's going on, and then make a decision based on the data that you have available. Yep.
Anybody else? Well, thank you, Neil.
All right, cool.